お姉さんか教えてあげよっか。やっぱ乱れまくりだ待って。恥ずかしがることないんだよ。私に任せて大丈夫だから。楽にして。
Source: Anime. I'm now your sister. A trailer video plays for the movie Space Titanic, and Mahiro is excited that the movie has now been released. Mihari walks in and sees the trailer too. While she is also happy to see the movie released, Mahiro mentions that he can't watch it in the theaters because he is a shut-in. This gives Mihari an idea, so she takes MC outside to watch movie together while getting him outside the house. They arrive at the shopping mall, and they must go upstairs to reach the movie theater. But they see Kaede coincidentally, and she and Mihari propose they shop together. While Mahiro thought he was there to see the movie, he realized he was tricked after Mihari explains that they need to wait for a long while until the movie is ready for screening. The three spend time window shopping and trying new decorations on Mahiro. Eventually, Kaede realizes she needs to go shopping for bikinis, so she drags everyone else with her. When Kaede shows her bikini to Mahiro, he flusters at the two big personalities Kaede has on her chest. Mihari comes out, and Mahiro makes a smirking remark about how she is on a losing end in size compared to Kaede. When Mahiro tries out a bikini, he goes through many varieties but likes the one-piece suit that embarrasses him the least. After they finish shopping, Mihari realizes that they need to hurry to see the movie. The three make it one time, and Mahiro is happy to finally see the movie, but he realizes that he needs to use the restroom first. When he sees the big line toward the ladies' room, he becomes disappointed if he were still a guy. He could have gone into the men's room and be done with it in a flash with no waiting line. Kaede gets worried that Mahiro didn't return in a long while, so she went to the restroom to find him, and she sees that Mahiro didn't make it to the toilet on time. While Mahiro becomes super embarrassed to wet himself in front of a girl, Kaede comforts him that everything will be alright and that she will keep this between them. As the two go back to their seats, Mahiro starts to feel closer to Kaede and sees her as another big sister. The next day, Mahiro is spending his time on his devices until he got hungry, so he waits for Mihari to make some lunch for them. Sometime later, he hasn't heard anything from her yet, so he visited her room to check in on her. It turns out that she is sick, so Mahiro needs to manage the house cleaning and food prep on his own. Mahiro tries laundry, vacuuming, and making porridge for Mihari. He doesn't know how to, so he called Kaede for some tips. He follows her instructions and finally gets it done. Mihari is still resting on her bed until she hears Mahiro coming in and bringing her some food. While the food was tasteless, Mihari cried happy tears because her brother made her something on his own. After Mahiro leaves Mihari's room, Mihari has a flashback about a conversation she had with Kaede. It turns out that Mihari's hair clip was Mahiro's gift to her and the promise they made to cook together. Mihari wakes up to Mahiro sleeping near her bed, showing his cuts from practicing cooking. Mihari reflects on how she was close with Mahiro, but they soon drifted apart despite living together. Now that Mahiro is now a little sister to Mihari, she does appreciate the bonding time she now has with him and hopes it will last for a bit longer. Mihari tells Mahiro that she has to leave for a bit. Mahiro thinks he did something wrong to deserve this, but Mihari clarifies that she is simply staying over at the school to continue working on her research. Mahiro takes this very well because this gives him the chance to be in charge of the house and be a shut-in all day. So he does that. He spends his time playing video games and reading manga, but he gets this sense of feeling that he's not up to it. He tries to think why, and he notices that since he has turned into a girl, Mihari was always checking in on him, so now that he is all alone, he doesn't know what to do without her telling him. Mahiro tries to eat his sorrows away, but then he soon feels full despite ordering a lot of food for him to eat. Demotivated, he just calls it a night and heads to bed. Mihari comes home, and she checks up on Mahiro. She sees him in a hopeless state, and she knew this would happen. She comforts his loneliness, and he soon becomes his usual self again after hugging her. The next day, Mihari and Mahiro are playing video games to settle who will go grocery shopping. After Mahiro loses, he is very hesitant to be a man of his word but accepts it anyway. He soon heads out, and while Mihari waves him goodbye, she takes note of how much improvement Mihiro has made in getting out more often. Not only that, but he has been more helpful in the house and took care of Mihari when she was sick. She has thoughts about him meeting the man of his dreams, but thinks that it'll most likely not happen. I mean, don't forget he has the mind of a straight boy, so obviously he will still have his preferences intact. Mihiro reaches the shopping center, but starts having cold feet because of the big crowds inside. Mihiro tries to motivate himself but gets approached by a boy. The boy asks if Mihiro is alright, and Mihiro faints in embarrassment. The two decide to shop together, and the boy asks Mihiro for the list of items he plans on buying. As the two of them shop, the boy starts giving helpful advice on selecting the right foods to Mihiro, and he is astounded by how knowledgeable the boy is. Mihiro soon starts warming up to the boy, thinking of him as a nice guy, but he soon hears gossip thinking that they are a couple. Mihiro forgets he is still pretending to be a girl, and when the boy asks if he is alright, Mihiro starts to feel embarrassed once again. When the two finish shopping, the boy gets a call and says he is with a friend. Kaede appears in front of them and calls the boy her little sister. Mihiro soon understands that the boy isn't a boy at all, but is Kaede's little sister, Momiji. He is more shocked about how Momiji is a girl, but is wearing guy outfits. During dinner, Mihiro tells Mihari how he started to question his sexuality. Mihari misunderstands it, and she then thinks that he is into little girls, but Mihiro justifies that he is now a little girl too due to the drug that turned him into a girl. Instead, he wonders if he is a lesbian or not due to him being a girl. The next day, Mihari invites Kaede and Momiji over, and Mihiro comes in to see them and sees that Momiji is wearing a dress. She is wearing that because she and Kaede just came back from school, and she is required to wear skirts as the dress code says. Kaede asks Mihiro if he's willing to spend time with Momiji in his room, and he hurries to clean up his messy room. After he's done, exhausted, he opens the door to invite Momiji in. Kaede calls Mihiro's room boyish because of the many video games he has, and she starts to grow curious about the tarp covering part of her room. In an attempt to distract her, he comes up with a conversation starter. He starts gossiping about skirts because he knows she isn't too fond of skirts. Mihiro praises how Momiji looks pretty in a skirt, but she counters that by complimenting how cute Mihiro looks. With a devious gaze, Momiji walks towards Mihiro, and he embraces what she'll do to him. She then starts to tickle him, and Mihiro couldn't help but laugh. But they were being too reckless, and Mihiro ends up knocking over the closet door, opening up all the junk he's been hiding there. Not only that, but the tarp also starts unraveling, and all this lewd material is now exposed. Momiji picks up a dirty manga and suspects it was Mihiro. He explains that it, along with the rest of the things in his room, belonged to an older brother who moved away for college. She also starts making up a sob story that she refuses to move his brother's things because they are the only things that remind him of his brother. Momiji buys the fake story and still encourages Mihiro to put the lewd books somewhere hidden. After some time, the two finally finish storing all the dirty books away. As Momiji starts putting the boxed books inside the closet, and Mihiro offers to help but trips on her. This leads to the two of them falling into an awkward position. Mihari bursts in through the door to see what the noise was, and she sees Momiji's hands placed on Mihiro's flat chest. Everyone ends up laughing it off, and Kaede comes to believe that Mihiro and Kaede have become best friends now. All good things must come to an end, and it became time for Kaede and Momiji to go back home. Kaede thanks Mihari for helping her practice for her incoming test, and Momiji thanked Mihiro for spending time with her. As the two girls leave, Mihari commends Mihiro for being able to make a new friend, despite Mihiro's disagreement that he technically is an adult in a girl's body, and it'd be weird of him to be friends with a middle school girl. Kaede asks Momiji what she did with Mihiro, and Momiji tells her that it's a secret, but she has grown to like Mihiro as a new friend. The next morning arrives, and Mihari wakes up to a beautiful and sunny morning. She loves the view outside, but only wishes that Mihiro could enjoy the experience with her. He is a shut-in after all, so will probably wake up around the late afternoon. As she walks to the kitchen, she finds Mihiro eating breakfast he already made for himself and Mihari. This is quite unbelievable to Mihari, so she panics and starts packing her emergency disaster kit because she knows something's up if the shut-in already woke up and made breakfast before his morning bird sister. Mahiro takes offense to this because he now knows how little Mihari expects him to wake up early. Mahiro explains how he needs to wake up early because there is a sale of anime merch he wants to buy that is opening in the morning. Although it is against his typical behavior, he wants to be first in line and buy the merch before it sells out. Mihari is stunned yet proud of Mahiro for going outside without being forced to. Mahiro goes to the store and can get all his items, and he sees an arcade place nearby. Once he enters, he remembers the good old times he got going there when he was younger. He tries to play fighting games, but after seeing the raging excitement from the boys playing it, he went elsewhere. Mahiro found a photo booth, and he went inside to have fun taking pictures of himself. When he admires his photos, he hears a bunch of girls coming his way, so he runs away from them. Mahiro finds a music game and plays on it, but he notices a stranger gazing behind him. He tries to ignore it, but he fears that the stranger may be some kind of predator. When they reach their hand toward Mahiro, he freaks out in fright. Mahiro sees that it is a truant officer. The officer thinks Mahiro is a student who is skipping class, so he interrogates him to confess what school he's supposed to be in. When Mahiro returns home, he cries on Mihari's shoulders because he was scared of the confrontation. Mihari is saddened to hear that he was interrogated the exact day he was showing progress and leaving home by himself. If this continues, Mahiro may revert back to his shut-in life. Mihari walks up to Mahiro, who is washing his face. She notices that Mahiro has some split ends, so she intends to cut only the ends of his hair. Mahiro believes that his hair is getting too long in general, so Mihari takes him to the hair salon. When they enter the salon, the hairdresser greets them. She asks if Mihari is interested in another hairdo, but it's Mihari who's getting the hairstyle today. She gets Mahiro seated, and while the hairdresser cuts Mahir's hair, she makes small talk with him, each topic being more mentally draining than the last. Just when she is done, Mahiro thinks it's all done, but nope. Mahiro has to get his hair washed. Mahiro is enjoying the relaxing experience, and his experience gets better when the hairdresser's chest gets in his face. A man of culture's dream. Mahiro is ready to leave, but not until the hairdresser finalizes styling his hair. To avoid another conversation, Mahiro falls asleep, and when he wakes up, Mihari shows him his new hairstyle. He freaks out, but Mihari and the hairdresser think he looks great, like a princess. Mahiro really likes his new hairstyle, but he isn't ready to engage in another conversation with the hairdresser again, but he also doesn't want to take the time to do it himself. When the time comes again, he'll know what to do. The next day, Mahiro is in his room, and knocking on his door is a zombified Mihari. Mahiro is terrified and tries to run away, but is cornered, so he accepts his fate, whatever it may be. Mihari drops the act and tells him that it's Halloween, and Kaede is hosting a Halloween party, so he needs to dress up. The two arrive at Kaede's place, and Mahiro goes above and beyond when he says trick or treat in the most adorable way possible. Kaede is overcome by cuteness by all this. He appreciates the praise, but he wonders why he's the only one wearing a costume. It turns out that Mihari tricked him to wear something silly while everyone else wore casual clothing. Mihari and Kaede went off to cook, so Mahiro and Momiji spend the time in Moniji's room. Moniji gives him some clothes for Mahiro to wear, and as he changes, he comments on how he looked forward to seeing Kaede's costume because of her attractive figure. Moniji vents about how little of the attractive qualities she has, and at least Mahiro has something in his chest, unlike her. Mihari and Kaede finish preparing the food, and everyone eats at the table. Mahiro was hesitant to eat pumpkin but soon loves it after the girls made it to be good. Momiji mentions Mahiro's brother in the conversation, and luckily, Mihari caught on about Mahiro's lie and went along with it, saying how he's away studying in college, even though her actual shut-in brother is in front of her, and not a college student. Everyone talks about plans to hang out together and concludes to hang out in a hot spring. The next day, Mahiro is getting back to his habits of a shut-in, which gets Mihari worried about how she'll get him to be more active. All of a sudden, a doorbell rang and Mihari goes to answer it. It was Momiji, but she was not alone as she brought two of her friends with her to see Mahiro. The story continues, but it's now focused on a school. Mahiro is seen making his introduction as a new student in Momiji's class, along with the two friends who were with her last episode. But back to the cliffhanger last episode. Mahiro, after seeing Momiji's new friends, hides behind Mihari in shyness. Momiji explains that they were on their way to a parfait place and they were wondering if Mahiro would like to join them. Mihari thinks of this as a new opportunity for Mahiro, so she forces him to join them. The girls make their introductions and Momiji's friends introduce themselves as Mio and Asahi. Mio comments on how well Momiji described Mahiro as cute and friendly, but Asahi destroys that when she says that Momiji thought of her as a good-for-nothing slob who's scared of strangers. Momiji apologizes for Asahi's words, but Mahiro laughs it off, saying that she is right. Plus, it's better to be someone you are than to pretend to be someone you're not. Everyone's parfaits are ready, and as Mahiro is about to eat his, Asahi offers to feed him hers as an apology. Mahiro blushes but tries it. Well, he was about to until Momiji jumps in, eats Asahi's parfait, and then makes up for it by giving Mahiro hers. Momiji and Asahi continue to compete and feed their parfaits to Mahiro, all while Mayo watches in amusement. Everyone leaves the parfait place, and Mahiro apologizes for interrupting Momiji's friend group. Momiji, Mio, and Asahi were happy to spend time with Mahiro and look forward to the next time they hang out. They reach a crossway, so everyone says goodbye to each other. When Mahiro parts ways with his new friends, Mayo comes back and tells him that she'll be supporting him. After that competition Momiji and Asahi had for Mahiro's attention. Mihari welcomes Mahiro back home, and she tells him to bathe before dinner. As Mahiro cleans himself up, he thinks about when his new friends will invite him. To be fair, we think that all the time, even though they seem to like us, we always hold every possibility of being invited or not by our friends. Mahiro changes into his new clothes, and he finds out that he is wearing Mihari's old school uniform. This was planned because Mihari informs Mahiro that since the drug he took to become a girl will take a while until it wears off, she enrolled him into middle school. And that explains how Mahiro ended up back in school. Mahiro spends the day at his desk until he is approached by a couple of classmates interested in the new kid. Mahiro is bombarded with questions, but luckily, Momiji was there to save him. As the classmates left, Mayo and Asahi arrived too, excited that Mahiro will be in their class too. They also mention hearing the news that Mahiro suddenly showed up because he was finally feeling better from an illness he had which led him to be homeschooled before. Asahi thought for a moment that Mahiro looked pale, so she hugged him as a motivator. Momiji separates the two because Asahi was being too touchy with Mahiro, which led Asahi to hug Momiji instead, all while Mayo looks in amusement. Mahiro was able to get through the school day by sticking close to Momiji, and when dismissal came, Momiji, Mio, and Asahi asked Mahiro to walk home together. But first, Mahiro needed to use the restroom. He walks into the boys' restroom and uses the urinal, but forgets that he is still a girl, so he runs away in embarrassment to the girls' restroom. Mahiro trembles to go inside due to not being used to going to the girls' restroom, and things get worse when Momiji and Mio were following her. Apparently, girls go to the bathroom together, so it's why they were following her. Uncomfortable by this, Mahiro leaves and waits for the girls to finish their business. As everyone walks outside, Mahiro struggles to hold it in, and they reach Mahiro's house. Mahiro runs inside while waving goodbye to his friends. He is almost there to the restroom, but he ran into Mihari welcoming him in. By this point, it's already too late, and Mahiro wets himself again, this time in front of Mihari. The next day, Mahiro readies himself to go to school, and awaiting him are Kaede and Momiji. As the three walk together, Mahiro struggles to carry his bag, and Momiji compliments how popular Mahiro became on his first day in school. Mahiro then learns that first period is gym class, so he tries to change in the classroom, but he forgets that he is not a boy, so he is embarrassed to be seen changing as a girl. He and Momiji go to the girls' changing room to get ready for gym class. Mahiro takes a look at the nearby girls changing their clothes and grows nervous by their chest size. To feel less nervous, he looks at Momiji and Asahi because of their flat chest. But when he looks at Mayo, her chest is anything but flat. The class gets ready to do warm-up exercises, and Mahiro gets the hang of it but loses his cool once Mayo tells him they will be running laps. Fortunately, Mayo informs the coach about Mahiro's previous illness, so he was excused from running. Mahiro spends his time in the shade while seeing his class run around the track. He sees how athletic Momiji and Asahi are after seeing them finish early. Asahi finishes last, but Mahiro thanks her for getting him out of running laps. After school is over, Mahiro is eating dinner with Mihari, sharing how his day was at school. Mihari warns him to not skip out of the gym because he will regret it in the future, but besides that, she is glad to see him happy enjoying his new life as a middle school girl. We'll continue the next part in next few weeks. Meanwhile, subscribe and watch our other contents posted in our channel. Until then, stay safe. Bye.